Have you ever loaded into a game in a perfectly normal mood, and then 20 minutes later, you're slamming your desk, blaming your teammates, and feeling like your brain completely stopped working? Like 1 second, you're chilling. The next second, you're playing like your life depends on it. Your heart is beating out of your chest, and every tiny mistake feels personal. And the weirdest part is, when you rage, you actually know you're making worse decisions. You know you're overpeaking, you know you're forcing fights, but it's like something else takes over your brain. And honestly, that's kind of what's happening. Because rage in gaming isn't just being mad, it's your brain switching into a completely different mode. And if you play competitive games, whether it's Rainbow Six, Valorant, CS, Rocket League, Overwatch, Apex, whatever, you've definitely felt this before. So in this video, I want to talk about what actually happens in your brain when you rage while gaming, why it feels impossible to stop once it starts, and why anger can turn a good player into their own worst enemy. So first, let's talk about the moment rage starts. Rage usually doesn't come out of nowhere. It starts with something small. Maybe you die to something that feels unfair, or maybe your teammate sells an easy round. And that's important, because rage isn't always about the event itself, it's about what the event means to you. If you care a lot about being good, then every mistake feels bigger. Every death feels like proof that you're playing bad. Every loss feels like your rank, your ego, your time, and your effort are all getting disrespected at once. So your brain doesn't just process it like, oh, unlucky. It processes it like a threat. Not a physical threat, obviously. Nobody's actually hunting you through your monitor, but a threat to your status, your control, your competence, and your expectations. And your brain takes those things way more seriously than people think. That's when the emotional part of your brain starts overpowering the logical part. Normally, when you're calm, you can think clearly, you can adapt and slow the game down. But when you rage, your brain shifts towards pure reaction. You stop processing the game properly. You stop playing smart and you start playing emotional. And that's why rage is so destructive. It doesn't just make you feel worse, it literally changes how you think. When you get angry, your body starts acting like something serious is happening. Your heart rate goes up, your muscle tense up, your breathing gets shorter, your attention narrows. And that last one is huge, because when you're raging, your focus gets smaller and worse. Instead of seeing the whole match, you lock onto one thing. The teammate, the missed shot, the stupid death. Your brain becomes obsessed with the source of frustration. And when that happens, your decision making drops off hard. You stop asking, what's the best play here? And you start asking, how do I get my kill back? How do I prove I'm better than this guy? How do I win this round right now? That's why rage creates so much tunnel vision. You're no longer reacting to the game, you're reacting to your emotions about the game. And that's a massive difference. Because the best players don't just have the better mechanics, they protect their brain from getting hijacked. And here's the worst part, rage makes you feel powerful for a second. It gives you this burst of energy. It makes you want to lock in harder, and it convinces you that you're now serious. You tell yourself, no, I'm not tilted, I'm just trying now. But most of the time, that intense angry energy is fake focus. It feels sharp, but it's actually reckless. You swing too fast, you force dumb plays, and you stop trusting your team. And sometimes, yeah, anger does give you a short burst. Sometimes you pop off for a round or two. But long term, it destroys consistency. Because calm focus is repeatable. Rage isn't. Rage is unstable. It's basically your brain flooring the gas pedal while the steering wheel is shaking. Another reason rage gets so strong in games is because games are built around expectation. You queue up expecting something. You expect teammates to have common sense and your aim to feel normal, and the game to give you a reward. So when reality doesn't match that expectation, frustration hits hard. And the bigger your expectation, the harder the emotional crash. That's why good players often rage more than casual players. Because if you know what the right play is, it hurts more when things go wrong. If you've been high ranked before, it hurts more when you play below your level. If you put thousands of hours into a game, every bad session feels more offensive. You're not just losing a round, you're losing the version of yourself you expect to be in that moment. That's why gaming rage can feel weirdly personal. You're not only mad at the game, you're mad at the gap between what you know you can do and what you're doing right now. And that gap can mess with your head badly. This is also why rage stacks. One bad moment becomes two becomes five. Now you're not only angry about the current match, you're carrying the last 3 matches too. Now every new mistake feels like part of a bigger story. You start saying stuff like, of course this happens, this game is so trash, I literally can't win, my teammates are always garbage, I'm playing horrible today. And once your brain starts building that story, it looks for evidence to support it. This is why rage makes everything feel worse than it is. You stop noticing good plays, you stop noticing progress, you stop seeing the match clearly, You only see what confirms the anger. That's why one mistake can ruin an entire session. Because rage doesn't just affect your emotions, it changes your interpretation of everything happening around you. It turns gaming into proof that you're getting robbed, disrespected, held back, or falling off. And once you believe that, you don't play to improve anymore, you play to escape the feeling. That's when the spiral gets ugly. There's also an ego side to this that people don't like to admit. A lot of rage comes from identity. If part of your identity is I'm good at this game, then every loss hits harder. Not because losing is the end of the world, but because your brain starts treating it like an attack on who you are. If you miss easy shots, you don't just think I messed up. You think, what happened to me? Why am I this bad? That's why rage can quickly turn inward. At first you blame your teammates, then the game, then your setup, then yourself. And honestly, self-rage can be even worse than regular rage. Because now you're in your own head and you're trying to perform. That almost never goes well. Competitive games demand clear thinking, confidence, and fast decisions. Rage destroys all three. And this is the most important point of the whole video. When rage takes over your brain, you are not playing the actual game anymore. You're playing your nervous system. You're fighting your own biology, your own ego, your own expectations. That's why people can have insane mechanics and still crumble mentally. The real skill isn't just aiming better or learning more strats, it's being able to stay mentally stable when the game stops going your way. Because anyone can look smart when they're winning, anybody can feel confident when the shots are landing. The real test is what your brain does when things get ugly. Do you stay present, or do you get dragged into emotional autopilot? That's the difference between temporary performance and real consistency. So if you've ever raged so hard that you stop recognizing yourself, that doesn't mean you're weak. It means the game found the exact pressure point in your brain. Your ego, your expectations, and your sense of control, and your emotional limits. That's why gaming rage feels so intense. It's not just a game once your brain attaches meaning to it. It becomes a test of skill, a test of identity. And when you fail that test a few times in a row, anger takes the wheel. So the next time you feel rage building, remember this. You are not suddenly thinking more clearly because you care more. You are not magically locked in because you're mad. Most of the time, your brain is just going into survival mode. And survival mode is terrible for competitive play. If you can learn and notice that exact moment your brain stops playing the game and starts reacting emotionally, that's where everything changes. Because the awareness is the first step to letting rage control you. And honestly, that might be one of the most important skills in gaming. Not mechanics, not rank, not talent, just control. Because once rage owns your brain, the game was probably over before the round even started. If you've ever felt your brain completely switch the moment you start raging in a game, you're definitely not the only one. A lot of us think we're just getting more locked in, when really we're losing control without even noticing it. If you enjoyed this video and felt like you related to anything I've said, please let me know in the comments. Also tell me what game makes you rage the most and how you cope with it and calm down afterwards. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.